Coming up on News Center 16 at 5.
Eyes are on Charleston, South Carolina tonight after a man opens fire during a prayer meeting, killing 9. The suspect in custody as we work to make sense of this senseless massacre.
Tonight, the community comes together to remember 2 Granger brothers who died unexpectedly from apparent drug overdoses.
Plus, more proof that the hotel industry is booming. Plans for a new hotel are in the works. Hear what makes the south side of South Bend a prime spot for the property.
And we have some storms down to the south. Those will move through the area tonight, and some cooler air on the way. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
From WNDU, your breaking news and weather authority, this is News Center 16 at 5.
The gunman accused of killing 9 people inside a Charleston church Wednesday night is now behind bars. Good evening, I'm Maureen McFadden.
And I'm Terry McFadden. Police captured 21-year-old Dylan Roof 4 hours away in North Carolina.
Back in Charleston, the community is coming together to support each other and deal with the aftermath of the deadly attack. Jay Gray has the latest. A little more now about the arrest of Dylan Roof. It was thanks to a tip by a business owner who said he saw Rouf's car. He's now in a North Carolina jail awaiting extradition back to South Carolina.
Well, here in South Bend, the oldest African-American church wasted no time gathering its congregation for a prayer service for the victims of Charleston's deadly attack. News
Center 16's Tricia Harte was there and joins us now with their reaction to this violence.
Maureen, Terry, if you really listened to what the pastors were saying today, it was this episode of violence. It requires not only prayer, but it requires unity. And of course, forgiveness was a very big message this afternoon. Olivet African Methodist Episcopal Church is celebrating its 145th year in this community, deeply established like many other AME churches here in South Bend. When word spread of the 9 killed in their sister church in Charleston, the instant reaction was to gather and to pray. I spoke with Olivet's pastor, Reverend Rick Jackson, today before the prayer gathering. He described the violence in Charleston as an act of evil, not inherently racist or a hate crime, but indicative of a larger culture of evil. He and other area pastors called upon the congregation to turn to the church, to prayer, and to the community to unite and take charge in the wake of this violence. For years, Jackson said the black community has lived with remnants of racism. Charleston's church shooting is a tragic reminder of the hatred that still exists.
People are no longer exposed to faith, and they have chosen to leave faith-based institutions, faith-based learning, anything that has to do with God. They've chosen to turn their back on it. And now we are reaping the results of a culture that is becoming more and more godless every day.
There is no demarcation between the black church and the black community. And so this tragedy will draw the black church even closer to the black community, and the black community even closer to the black church.
Many have drawn connections between the Emmanuel AME church shooting and the 1963 Birmingham church bombing, where 4 young African-American girls were killed. Talking with members of South Bend's AME ministry, it's hard not to see those similarities. They say it shows that violence can happen anywhere and at any time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Tricia, that this is the type of thing that I remember being a very small child when the incident you talked about happened. And certainly you think this was decades behind us.
And one of the things that was a common theme just talking to the people going to today's prayer gathering is, they are Christians, they're very devout, and they say as long as they're in their house of God, it's something that they can get over. But again, today the message was to forgive what happened and kind of turn back to what all brings them together there.
All right, Tricia, thanks a lot. And stay with News Center 16 as we continue to follow this senseless massacre. At 5:30, we'll hear reaction from the Capitol as this hate crime is investigated. And tonight, Savannah Guthrie anchors Nightly News from Charleston.
Today is the visitation for 2 Granger brothers found dead Sunday morning of an apparent drug overdose. News Center 16's Megan Hickey was at the visitation at Penn High School and joins us now. And Megan, I take it the turnout was rather large considering the community's response over the last couple of days.
Terry, less than an hour into the 5-hour visitation, there were hundreds of students, teachers, family, and community members packed into the halls of Penn High School. The line led into the gym where the visitation was held. In life, the brothers were clearly well respected, and in death, their story has affected an entire community. Penn High School grads Nick and Jack Savage were just 19 and 18 years old when their bodies were found unresponsive in their parents' home Sunday. Investigators said the boys were at a party where prescription drugs and alcohol were mixed with deadly effects. Today, hundreds of people came out to support the Savage family. Pictures, hockey trophies, and jerseys line the memorial, paying tribute to the boys' athletic careers.
Just supporting the family, and I know like that people don't even know the Savage family, but they're still here. Like my hockey team, like some of the kids don't even know the Savage family that well, but they're still here just to support. I feel like anything bad happens, the community comes together and supports whoever.
And no criminal charges have been filed in the boys' deaths. Toxicology tests could take up to 8 weeks to determine exactly what combination of drugs and alcohol led to their deaths.
Just an amazing turnout, Megan, and I see you interviewed Andy Hahn, who actually plays for St. Joe, but growing up through the youth ranks, played with the Savage boys. The hockey community has really come together. In fact, I know the entire St. Joe team, which my son plays for, is out there. Could you even imagine how big of a turnout you saw there today?
You know, I wasn't expecting it to be so big just at 3 o'clock when the doors opened, but the lines were already snaking around the halls of Penn High School. So just to imagine 5 hours of visitation, there's going to be hundreds, maybe thousands of people coming through.
And Megan, the grieving continues tomorrow, correct?
Right, so their funeral will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's at Sunnyside Presbyterian Church in South Bend.
All right, Megan Hickey reporting live tonight from the newsroom. Megan, thanks.
Meantime, a vigil in support of the family of Precious Jackson and those affected by domestic violence will be held today. 22-year-old Precious Jackson was shot and killed last Friday in Mishawaka. Jackson and the alleged shooter, 18-year-old Tyrone Johnson, had a 1-month-old child together. Johnson was captured at Miami Hills apartment complex in South Bend on Tuesday. Tonight's vigil starts at 8:30 and will be over at the Buter Riverfront Park in Mishawaka. The public is invited and encouraged to attend. Well, a warm one here in Michiana today, but not too pretty. Chuck, how's the evening looking?
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some sunshine. How about that idea? Well, right now we're not going to get it. We do have clouds around the area. Take a look over at the radar. It actually shows some storms down to the south. There's actually a severe thunderstorm watch for Kosciuszko County and LaGrange County down to the south and east, and some storms will continue to fire through the early evening hours. There's a satellite radar. Look down to the south. Remember Bill that hit Texas? Well, he's trying to make his way up north, but guess what? High pressure is going to keep them away from us. Maybe some clouds, though, for some of us, but here's your hour-by-hour forecast. There you go. Temperatures aren't going to move that much. Clouds will still linger around the area, but tomorrow, good news. Yes, sunshine. How about that? Terry?
Chuck, thanks a lot. Well, we now turn to a disturbing dispute out of Berrien Springs. A man is behind bars for stabbing his 68-year-old mother several times. Police were dispatched to the 8600 block of US 31 last night. There they found Sherry Howard with several stab wounds around her neck and stomach. She was taken to an area hospital where she underwent surgery. Sherry Howard is now in serious condition, but we've just learned from police that she is alert and able to talk. Her son, 37-year-old Paul Bryant Howard, was arrested at the scene and charged with assault with intent to murder. He's being held on a $500,000 bond.
Crime tape. Police and the FBI surrounded a bank in Granger today after a reported robbery. It happened around 9:30 a.m. at the First Source Bank on State Road 23 near Bittersweet Road. Police say a white man in his mid-20s driving a gray Ford entered the bank. They believe he handed the bank teller a piece of paper, but say no weapons were involved. At this point, we don't know if anything was taken. We are told there was another person in the car with the suspect. No customers were in the bank at the time of the robbery, only employees. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Bank personnel did exactly as they were trained to do, and we don't have any kind of information yet in terms of what the loss was or anything further. The FBI has been on scene and we're in consulting with them. They'll be assisting us with some of their information and expertise as well.
Police say they will release surveillance footage from the bank once they have access to it. Stay with News Center 16 as we continue to follow this developing story.
Well, there are $6 million plans in the works to build a new hotel on South Bend's south side. Mark Peterson's live in the studio. Mark, the plans come from the same developer who already pledged to make a big investment in the downtown.
That's right. JSK Hospitality and AJ Patel do seem to be willing to go where others will not. The same players who announced plans to build a new hotel around the former College Football Hall of Fame now have their sights set On the south side, near the intersection of Ireland and South Michigan, it's across the street from the Erskine Commons Shopping Center. Plans call for a Holiday Inn Express, a 4-story structure with 81 rooms. There would be an indoor pool along with a conference room, fitness room. On Monday, the South Bend City Council is going to be asked to improve tax incentives for this project.
We've heard chatter about this for a few years now, and it really does make sense. There's just not much hotel inventory on the south side. We only have the Comfort Suites there on Kern Road and the 31 bypass. So I can definitely see a need, for just the population base on the south side. Newton Park brings in a lot of tournaments to Lakeville and a lot of teams. Potato Creek State Park, it's the 3rd most visited state park in the state. So I can definitely see a need down there.
How much of the recent hotel growth has pretty much been confined to the north side of Mishawaka? Of course, we're near the Notre Dame campus.
All right, and of course, you're probably going to have a casino going in on the south side too. So
eventually, not part of this project.
No, but I'm saying there might be a demand for some extra hotel space down there. How about a timetable for all this?
The paperwork was kind of surprising. Indicated construction to begin next month, but we did make contact with the developer today. Said more likely next spring.
All right, Mark, thanks.
Making news tonight, Indiana Governor Mike Pence will officially announce his bid for a second term. He plans to make a speech during a Republican Party fundraising dinner in an hour in Indianapolis. Yesterday, during a visit to Elkhart, the governor said he will focus on the good he's done while in office, saying unemployment rates are down nearly 3 percentage points from when he was elected, and test scores and graduation rates are up. Tonight's announcement will be made at the Indiana Republican Party's annual spring dinner at 6:30. Governor Pence and keynote Speaker Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam are set to speak along with other Hoosier leaders. We'll have the announcement at 11, or if you'd like to watch it live, we'll have a link on WNDU.
More to come on News Center 16.
An iconic woman will be on the brand new $10 bill, but who? Find out how you can have a hand in picking the next face that will don this bill.
Plus, in any sport, there's risk of injury, but it's getting too frequent among kids. In today's medical moment, how to keep them in the game longer.
Tracking inconvenient weather where you live. Storm Team 16 is your weather authority.
Well, it certainly wasn't a great day to go out to the beach, but it was humid and it was warm. But Silver Beach right now, just a couple folks out there over in St. Joe enjoying the afternoon. Not a ton of rain, a couple scattered showers, but there are showers down to the south, and that's in association with a cold front that's sliding down. Good news is tomorrow our temperatures are going to only be in the upper 70s, and it's not going to be as muggy and humid as it was, especially the further north you go. Right now, 81 degrees over at Notre Dame campus, a west-northwest, see that? Frontal boundary sliding through 14 miles per hour. So you'll notice a marked difference in the dew points and the humidity levels tomorrow. Here's a total look at the radar for the national scope, and we can see some thunderstorms over in southern Indiana and then creeping into our southern counties. But this is Bill, the remnants of Bill that came into Texas, and that's still spinning and circulating. Now the big story for us is high pressure to the north. That's our friend, because what that's going to do is shift in a northerly component to the wind, drier air, and keep Bill down to the south. There's closer to home. You can see the showers and storms. We always look at the amount of lightning strikes to determine a thunderstorm's intensity, and that seems to be dissipating. However, we do have, for LaGrange and Kosciuszko, a severe thunderstorm watch. That just means conditions are right. 81 degrees right now in South Bend, pretty much around the 80-degree mark. And there we go, Elkhart, you're the warm one at 83 degrees. Temperatures again are going to decrease as that frontal boundary and the cooler air starts to entrench. So you can see kind of to the north here, you see that little thing? That's a cold front. That's going to keep sliding down to the south, and those storms are firing along that. But then those will dissipate as the evening moves along, and Future Track will show that. So Future Track shows about showtime. You can see the cold front sliding through, a couple scattered showers. This bill gets absorbed into this frontal boundary, but high pressure, that's the key. It's giving us that northerly component, and you can see how the clouds are eroding. Now, if you're further down to the south in our viewing area, yeah, you may see more clouds, but if you're up in the Michigan area, you're going to see some sunshine for sure. Then that pushes out. Oh, if you like the humid air, just wait a minute. Here we go. We have a warm front sliding through, and that means on Saturday, temperatures are going to go back up into the middle 80s. Then another frontal boundary slides through. So I don't know. You know, here we are. It's summer, early summer in Michiana. It's the way it is, folks. 76 degrees tomorrow. Not a bad day. Fantastic evening tomorrow night. If you got an extra vacation day, why not make it a long weekend? How about that idea? Saturday, do you guys have extra vacation days? No. 85 degrees then for the high and more humid on Saturday. And with that humidity, a chance for a scattered shower Saturday night. And then the same on Father's Day. Don't forget to buy a card for Dad. There you go, 81 degrees. And then Monday through Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures right around the 80-degree mark for highs. And our normal high this time of the year is about 80.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see some clouds, though, unfortunately.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Chuck.
Sure.
We'll move over Alexander Hamilton. For the first time ever, a woman will be on the brand new redesigned $10 bill.
But the woman at the center of it won't be announced until later this year, and the bill itself won't be circulated until 2020. Now, the announcement comes after an intense social media campaign to put a woman on the $20 bill went viral, even gaining the attention of the president. Now, the Treasury says plans to redesign the $10 bill have been in the works for a while, and this was just a happy coincidence.
We recognize the contributions that men have made, but we haven't recognized women's contributions in the same way, and so this is a chance to do that.
A young girl wrote to ask me, why aren't there any women on our currency? Which I thought was a pretty good idea.
Well, the Treasury Department will be accepting ideas from the public with just one criteria. The woman cannot be alive and they must fit with the theme democracy. So we compiled a list of leading ladies and asked you to vote at home, and here are the results so far. 33% of you think it should be Eleanor Roosevelt. At number 2, Sally Ride with 23%, followed by Susan B. Anthony and Rosa Parks, who I had the pleasure of interviewing here at WNDU several years ago. Thank you all for voting. Terry?
No Kim Kardashian? Oh, she's still alive. Well, areas of a Utah college campus have been divided into 3 lanes of pedestrian traffic, one for walkers, runners, and texters. This new 3-lane stairway is located in the Student Life and Wellness Center where students work out. Originally, the idea was about having a fun interior design and not necessarily about directing student traffic. The Wellness Center opened a few months ago, but the artwork on the stairs wasn't painted until last week. Another stairwell has a calorie counter, but this one is getting the most attention after a student posted a photo on social media a couple of days ago.
Picture of these stairs has been in India, Japan. We're in 25, 26 states across the country, so it's amazing.
And when we asked you about it on Facebook, across the board, folks said, get off your phones. Still ahead, the occasional bump and bruise is expected when kids play sports.
But when the number of injuries hits the millions, that's a problem. How to help prevent injuries next in today's Medical Moment.
The latest health news for you and your family. This is Maureen's Medical Moment.
How to prevent injuries from sidelining young athletes. That story in today's Medical Moment. Every year, 3.5 million children under 14 are treated for sports injuries. I know my youngest son had a number of them, and it's a problem that keeps getting worse. But we've got some tips for young athletes that could keep them in the game longer. Rich Masheri has been playing baseball his whole life.
I've been playing since I was 2 years old, since I could pick up a baseball bat.
As a kid, he practiced as often as he could, and it paid off. In 2012, he was signed to the New York Yankees as a pitcher, but was released when he suffered a shoulder injury.
It was like being on top of the world and then kind of having that taken away from you.
Rich had surgery and is now working hard to get back into throwing shape. Doctors say injuries like Rich's are becoming more common in younger athletes as they focus on playing a single sport year-round.
They're starting to specialize at younger and younger ages, so their bodies aren't necessarily getting the rest that they need.
About half of sports injuries in kids and teens are from overuse. A recent study found 75% of baseball players between 8 and 18 years old report arm pain while throwing. Nearly 50% of them were encouraged to play through the pain.
You know, you're a kid. You're a growing skeleton.
To avoid injuries, experts say don't let young athletes specialize in one sport until they at least reach puberty. Limit participation to 5 days a week or less.
Cross-train, play a different sport, do nothing.
Rich is hoping to get back in the game soon. He hopes other kids will remember to play safe so they too can make their dreams a reality. Studies show children who play multiple sports have fewer injuries and continue to play longer and at higher levels than those who specialize in one sport before puberty. To read the research summary for today's story, you can go to WND.com and click on the medical moment.
Well, it takes a hardy soul to sit through heavy rain at the ballpark, and tonight we tip our hat to one fan who wasn't going to let Mother Nature stop him from watching some baseball. It started to pour on the nation's capital yesterday as the Nationals hosted the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, some fans scrambled for the exits while others hunkered down with a cold beverage. Meanwhile, the Nationals TV crew captured one man's struggle with nature and his poncho. Good news, the poncho was see-through, so he could keep an eye on the game while the cameras kept an eye on him as he searched for the armholes in his rain gear. I don't think he suffocated, thank goodness. News Center 16 at 5:30 is next with Mo. Here's a preview.
Coming up on News Center 16.